Bleeding Blue is a funny, honest, and gritty story of a man who refused to say no and would do anything to keep on going, even when everything told him to quit. Please welcome former captain of the Maple Leafs, Wendel Clark, is back.
Oh, very good.
Congratulations on this beautiful memoir. Why was now the time to tell your stories?
But probably because all the round numbers that are coming out. 100th anniversary of the Leafs, 100th anniversary of the league. I'm 50. All those things add up and kind of come into play, so it was kind of a bunch of things.
Hold on, 50 just last week. Happy belated.
50, yes.
How did you celebrate?
I just trying to hide it.
Well, you told us you don't look a day over 24, so it doesn't really, it's all in here.
Well, they said I looked 50 when I turned 21, so I've been hovering at this.
No,
I'm the same
true.
age.
So much so, I'm going to say this. You know, sometimes you see pictures of people and they look nothing like they did as a kid. I'm going to see you look exactly the same, minus the facial hair. Take a look at little wee three-year-old Wendel.
Okay.
I love this picture. So you have, of course, stories and pictures in the book to accompany. Look at you. That is your exact same face without the stash.
That's the stance I had back-checking my whole life.
Well, what great foresight for your parents to get this picture, you know, immortalized forever. Your first time on skates.
Yeah, no, that was one of the first times. My dad would put me at center ice, or any of the kids, and you'd crawl off crying, and he'd put you back at center ice again until you skated off, and then we never wanted to leave after that.
You just keep falling until you get back up and figure it all out, right? It's not like it is today. And when you were 10, you tell a really cute story about how you had your first encounter, this is the cute part, with the cops.
Yes,
so
no, I was, instead of coming home the school bus, my father said to the tractors in getting fixed in town, just bring the tractor home. So I was driving through town and I got pulled over by the cops. He thought I had a tough time looking over the steering wheel, I guess, bringing the tractor home.
License and registration, please. Well, sir, you're going to have to call my dad. No cell phones at the time.
That's it. Pencil and eraser is all I got.
And then, of course, growing up, you were known for speed. You were known for your physicality, your strength, and they called you Captain Crunch. Did you like that name, that nickname?
No, that was probably nicknamed from the outside because of playing and what they seen on the highlights. So that's how that came about. Inside the dressing room was more of a just Clarky or Wendel.
And when there was that fate to change you from, you know, defense to forward, did you have hesitation? Did you think, oh, will I play as well as a forward? What happened during that transition?
No, I played a little bit. 3 games I played forward with the World Junior team, and that's probably where they've got the idea. And so when I got to training camp, basically looked down the list and said forward. So it didn't bother me as long as I wasn't going back to junior. If I got to stay in the NHL, that was what mattered.
And how much or how great did it feel as a first draft pick? I mean, for Toronto, was it overwhelming? I love that you say it's almost better, the ignorance of being part of a Toronto team, because there's so much pressure and scrutiny, rather than perhaps being in Florida for a while, just starting out in Toronto.
Well, starting in Toronto, because you don't know, you just think, okay, every place is like this, so this is the way it is. So, like our young guys right now with the Leafs, they're coming in, and they're learning for the first time. They're not learning it a different way on a team that's not in such a hyped market. So when you learn it for the first time at 18, it's actually easier as an 18-year-old coming in here than it is as a 25, 26-year-old that played somewhere else. Because he's learning it, that's just how it is.
That's all you know, is that scrutiny, that pressure, those loud...
Yeah, that's just part of it, and it's really not a pressure, because at 18, you're just so happy to be there. You're walking in the dressing room every day, and there's that perfect blue and white jersey and that perfect dressing room that you've always dreamed about getting to. Yeah. All the outside stuff didn't matter.
But the title is called Bleeding Blue, and that you did. Let's talk about your injuries. At 23, they basically said, you're done. Your body has had way too much punishment, and you were able to extend your career another 10 years. How did you do that, feeling so much pain with every move?
Well, basically, there's tons of rehab. Basically, my back was what went out from doing tons of injuries. The bottom picture, 2 knee braces playing and ice packs, and that's Chris Broadhurst, who basically kept me together from the age, the last 10, 11 years of my career, and he made sure that I was able to play, and he put in, Chris put in as many or more hours than I ever did. So
because you said sports medicine has come so far, you didn't have that luxury.
We never had that in the 80s, and that's like you picture back pre-1990, I guess, the medicine between the doctor to the player, you were missing that middle guy for the longest time to rehab, to keep you going. And when the salaries started going up, then they said, oh, we got to get guys to make sure these guys stay put together. And Chris was one of the first and probably still the best around.
So much so, you did your own acupuncture. Don't try that at home. One of the needles got stuck in your leg, and it took how many years before they removed it?
Well, it started to come out a couple years later, and it just That's what the doctor in Quebec says, what is in your leg? I said, well, just this little needle I'd put in there.
Yeah, just a foreign object that got lost in my muscle.
Got lost in there. So.
And of course, that jersey, when it was retired, you tell the story. You have the beautiful picture of your family, a great highlight for you to cherish.
Yeah, no, the story, that's kind of the hat trick of finally making the Toronto Maple Leafs, being honored to be captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then the jersey going up and honored playing so many years in Toronto, and that's when I officially became old. When you get up there with Daryl and Boria and Johnny, those are the greats.
Not old, just legendary. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Forever young at heart, bleeding blue.
Thank you.
Pick it up, everybody. BreakfastTelevision.ca to get a link. Great stories to share, and you can see him today if you live in Peterborough. You lucky ducks. You'll be at the chapters at noon. You've got 22 dates. You're very busy, so check out all that online. Thank you so much, Wendel. Congrats. Right now, over to Kev.